Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you very much for stopping by yet again after a long absence. It's just been wild and crazy. I was flat on my face there with flu that I had not expected to hit me hard, and I just went to bed feeling like I had a head cold, and the next morning I could hardly move. So that took 2 weeks. Then another couple just getting back to normal. I mean, it really was something. But that's not a good excuse. My mind was operating fine. I just wasn't working well on trying to get things written and put together on the computer and so forth. So, in the meantime, though, we have other things happening. That's not really the issue. The real issue, it didn't help. Let's put it that way. It did not help at all. But the fact of the matter is that I'm dealing with a massive amount of information that's coming in at many different levels. And I always try to look at the general scene that Panama is in. Mind you, this is a report from Panama about Panama. It's not a discussion of political events in other countries. Okay, good. But in any event, there's a lot happening. And it's almost like we live in a different world down here, I think, than you do in some respects. But anyhow, let me bring you up to date. At least I do that much. However, some information came. Two things had to come in. One came in late last week, and the other came in this weekend, much to my surprise. So hallelujah. I've got, I think, everything that I need. And I will now write it. I've written parts of it. I'll put the report from Panama together. Then I won't like it. Then I'll rewrite it. Then I will cut it down because it'll be too long. And do this whole thing. And then I will send it out to you. And now the goal is the end of the month, and it has to be because I've got too much to do. So that's the way it boils down to. Now, without further ado, I haven't even shaved today. I got to get to work. Important little things coming on. The Metro Line 3, if you remember, that's the line that goes underneath the canal and ties the main center of the city with the other cities that are technically just part of the same urban area as Panama City on the other side. It's going to make a big change. It's going to make a lot of difference here. It's going to make it possible for many of the people who work in the city and live out there because it's less expensive. Gives them a chance to really cut down their commute hugely. The buses aren't quite the same and so forth, and the bridges can still be cramped. So the bridge will still be built, but this is the subway, and it just passed a few days ago to its lowest point underneath the canal. So it doesn't have to go any deeper than it is now, and it's huge. Of course, it's a gigantic hole. We have a monstrous borer here that bores these tunnels. They're magnificent. We've done this before, so we've got crews of people who are used to it. And now you might say it's uphill now, as it will soon reach the other shore. And then we move on from there. So that's coming along now. The financing of this whole thing has always been a question because this is really a major extension. Well, it's not a question anymore. I listened to some of the news sources from up north and what have you, and they're like 2 weeks behind in the news. It will be handled by Japan. The agreement's already been signed. And it's for $2.5 billion. And the people doing it will be the Japanese government. So let's hear it for Japan, which we're likely to... I just got to get rid of this in the machine. Okay. Yeah, we're very pleased with it. It's been a good deal. Now, this is a country that has been more and more active. Japan and Korea, South Korea, of course, have been very, very active, and they continue to be. But this is a presence of the Japanese now is becoming very noticeable. They've always had a community here. They have a couple schools for their kids and so on. But I suspect we're going to see more and more for obvious reasons. Now, the pipeline, you've heard about the pipeline if you've been listening to recent videos from here. that is now moving right along. They are fast tracking that, so to speak, as they say, and it should be coming together in this final quarter. They've had, I think, 45 different companies have expressed an interest. Everything from ExxonMobil to Sumitomo to just about everybody under the sun seems to have popped up with an interest in this. This is a very interesting project. It's going to. We already move 1 million barrels per day by the canal by ship. The problem is that sometimes, if we have water problems, then these are very important shipments to us. They bring in a lot of money, but also because we can't keep up with the demand, even when everything's perfect. So this will add, initially probably an extra billion, but an extra million. But 2 million, its goal is 2 million barrels. This is per day, all right? Along with the 1 billion going across by ship. And eventually maybe 2.5 billion if 2.5 million if indeed there is demand for that. Well, the canal has always been conservative in these things, so I suspect the demand is there. So that's coming together quickly, and we should have. They're talking with all these potential builders. They have to pre-qualify. They have to give their experience and so forth. Those that seem to be capable of doing the job and have something to offer will sit down and in the next 3 months, and they will be working with the government to talk about what they want to do, how they want to do. They can ask all the questions they want to, because we want the proposals they make to be specific and complete. I mean, this is a very expensive process, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. And it could be more complex than we think and so forth. It is a Canal Authority project, and it's going to have to fit in with everything else the Canal Authority does. There's work that's the Panama Maritime Authority. That's the ports, okay? But the canal itself and associated with it, its activities, and the railroad which runs alongside it, which Maersk is now operating, it's got the contract for, and then this new pipeline. So that's steaming along, and that's good. That's a big plus, because both the railroad and the pipeline will be operating regardless of whether there's raining outside or not. We now have a declaration of intent for the development of this very large project. We'll see how it works, how it comes out, for building of a railroad from Panama City across to David and Chiriquí province and onto the border with Costa Rica. That project is, we have I call it a declaration of intent, which is the first big step to making the agreement with the government of France. Okay, so all right, France, we're perfectly happy to work with them. That could be as much. Initially, when it was first raised, it was around $4 billion. I don't know what it'll be now. I want to add that this was a project first offered by the Chinese government, Beijing. And that was way back in 2010, actually, rather quietly, but less quietly when they arrived here officially. They set up an embassy. And then in 2019, it was politely declined by the government, and that was the end of it. It is now resurrected, so to speak, and but it's being directed toward a country that's not only going to deal with that, will also be providing a very good financing. So that's major. I mean, we're talking multi-billion-dollar things here. The canal itself, its total program over the next few years is $2 to $8 billion. Actually, it could be that much next year. That's the far end, because it includes, of course, the building of the Indio, or the beginning creation. That's a longer-term affair of the reservoir to provide more water to the canal and for drinking purposes and otherwise for the country. So we've got so much going on, and really making an effort this time to explain everything, every item to the people and getting the word out about it. And since the political uproar, I mean, the real big change here has been the change in the makeup of the National Assembly a year ago. And this is missed by foreigners all the time. Or they give it passing notice. They don't understand what happened. It was an earthquake, turned everything upside down and inside out. And I got to give everybody, I'm going to give it to all of them because I'm not going to get fussy about that. And I don't want to get involved in any disputes. But the whole batch of them, I think, are doing a much better job than I had ever anticipated they would be able to do to make so many changes so quickly. I mean, we have people, so many people in jail for corruption and on their way to it, and whose appeals have failed. In the past, they'd be in for a couple of weeks, they'd appeal, they'd get out, this sort of stuff. Forget it. No, I want to say right off the bat that if they have justifiable cause to repeal I mean, it's not mine. I don't judge them. But the legal system here does, and it has not been done like this in a long time. Like forever, a very long time indeed. And Panamanians will still be very highly critical of it, but it is the reason why 100,000 people hit the streets back in November of 2023. It wasn't the money that we were just rejecting because we were silly people and we don't understand the importance of copper mines and so on. It was the corruption. And they were right. Okay? So get over it. Now, it has to be done differently, and it's being done differently. And I 3 cheers, all of them. Okay, keep it up, for heaven's sakes, and the president as well, who's been doing quite a good job, I think, of representing us in North America. Panama is also currently the head of the Security Council of the UN. They're a member of it, and they exchanged the chairmanship of it, and it happens to be Panama at the moment. So he was up to take advantage of that, too, as well as having some serious talks on trade in that part of the world. So what else we've got? Oh, I'm just mentioning these things that come along to let you know what's happening. Not that any one of them is necessarily the end of the world or something big. Now, for instance, say we've just gone to Citibank to get a loan to assist in paying, in the short run, bills that need to be paid. Now, this is not a good thing to have to borrow, but you do. You do have to do it. Now we have to do it. Everybody knows it. It's transparent. It's a $324 million loan with Citibank. And it will help, with, as they say, partially finance the 2025 state budget and future fiscal years with a term of 3 years and an annual interest rate of 2.39%. Not too shabby. Okay, so we're getting a lot of positive feedback from some of the rating agencies, from the banks, Bank of America particularly, a lot of them. And I'm just very impressed with that. We're still having to bite bullets. We're still having to prove ourselves. We still can lose our investments. Anything can happen. All right. But so far, so good. In fact, our interest rates on our loans went from, what's it called? Well, it would have been the equivalent of it went to 3.3% above the similar Treasury bill in the United States, or note, whatever it would be, or whatever, of similar length. So we would be paying 3.3% more. Right now, as the circumstances exist, which is not good, very bad. And since we have gotten through the Social Security thing, with everything that's gone on last year and throughout this year, we're down to 2% over it. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And that's also very much a vote of confidence. I'll tell you the truth. The world needs Panama. Latin America does. It does not have examples that are working very well right now, and I don't care what your example is. Look more carefully at it. I'm not going to trash talk other countries. But this is why they call us boring, because we don't riot, we don't hurt people, we don't kill people, for God's sakes, we don't just go crazy and then throw the bad guys out, and they go back and forth between the two sides, and they never get anywhere. It's the right-left split in Latin America, which is pure poison for them. They get stuck on one end or the other, and then they switch back. We're in the process of that happening again. I've seen it maybe 6, 7 times, or I bet it's like every couple of years. There's enough change, enough already. We just keep on building, and if we keep this up that we're doing now, and I don't see any reason why we should stop, because that's where our focus is, we should be doing just fine. We'll have our rough moments, count on it. And you never know what circumstances have to offer in times to come, but I wouldn't worry too much. Then a couple minor details here. If for those of you who've been here before, especially in the past, you may know there's an area called Calle Uruguay, which was the big social center. I mean, that's where you had the bars and a lot of restaurants, and there was a lot of noise. And the residents of the area got really upset, and there was a lot of blowback, and then there were all sorts of regulations set on noise creation and how late the bars could be open and so forth in that area. And much of that activity moved over to Old Town, or Casco Viejo, or into Costa del Este, or anywhere else. I mean, somewhere else in town. So we have restaurant centers and bar centers all over the place. And Calle Uruguay is okay. It's still got some very good restaurants over there. But they're going to drop $221 million on it. And it's going to go back to being a center, and it's meant to be. And this is private money, and it's, it's a lot of stuff that they're going to be putting together. And a hotel, it's going to have a big auditorium, it's going to have an arts center, it's going to have all sorts of stuff. And that's going to change that area pretty dramatically again. So who knows? I mean, if they come through with it and they actually finish it and do it, more power to them. That's going to be a rebirth of the Calle Uruguay area. I would think it would. They better be. Then finally, is a little note here. As a result of our discussions with the Japanese government, President Murino was with the Prime Minister of Japan a couple weeks ago, and the Prime Minister said there will be a direct flight from Japan to Panama. And it's just a matter of when, and All Nippon Airlines is the one chosen for that. They, in the latest Skytrax, the best airlines in the world, they rank 4th. Not too shabby. Japan Airlines, which does very well, is only 9th. So ANA is a good one, a very fine airline. And it's going to be a long flight, and who knows what the demand will be, but we've been waiting for this for some time. We thought we had it with Singapore Airlines. It just didn't happen. It moved over to Turkish Airlines, people moving in through that line. So we need it direct. We want it with East Asia. We want a direct one. And we're very happy with this being the one. So, and the others can join too if they want to someday. Finally, I'm not going to put too much time on this. Just say that for all of you who are waiting, there's a small group who are waiting for the canal to collapse because of the Northwest Passage opening and ships going through. It's happened. Yay! The first. What is its name? Oh, the Istanbul Bridge. Perfect. It's the first one to do it. But as we also knew and didn't get excited about it as a result, is that it isn't. It's to Europe. It's not to North America. It's not going to move the canal. Its competition is the Suez Canal. All right. So anyhow, that's sort of fun. And they're more power to them. They had to go through the Houthis, my God, and the Suez, and it's just been hell on wheels for them. They had to go around southern Africa. Now they can go right across through the polar areas, and places like the Norway, Amsterdam, and places, not Amsterdam specifically, Rotterdam specifically, and other of the major ports in Europe. So that's operating, and we're fine with that. Why shouldn't we be? So anyhow, that's what's happening. I got to get back to work. I got a lot more to do. Thank you for stopping by. I look forward for the next message when it's got the darn report done.